Welcome Capricorn to your in-depth weekly forecast for week commencing the 27th of November for the Sun or the Ascendant. The standout moment for you this week is on Friday when Mercury, the planet of communication, arrives in your sign. But Mercury is going to be going retrograde on the 13th of December, and it is already slowing down in its pre-retrograde shadow. But it does forge a really terrific link with your ruling planet Saturn in your sector of everyday conversations. So something that may have felt a little bit lost or perhaps hasn't been gaining the traction that you want could actually start to form up in a much more positive way as this week draws to a close. Also professionally, with Venus cresting high in your chart and linking with Pluto at the end of this week, well, charm can take you a long way. If there is something that's important to you, you may have to negotiate with someone and your diplomacy will be important. But what about that full moon? Well, it is potentially challenging because it goes across the 6th and 12th axes. The 12th house, where you have Mars combining with the Sun, but both in a square with your ruler Saturn, that combination between the Sun and Mars goes on till Wednesday. Mars in the 12th house, as I explained last week, can have a tendency to ignite injustices deep within our subconscious that we thought that maybe we dealt with. You know, if you've been having some very powerful dreams, or suddenly you're having literally a flashback to a past event and thinking, do you know, that really wasn't pleasant. Even if in the interim you thought that actually you'd worked through that and let it go, this is how potent the subconscious can be. And the 12th house is where the Sun and Mars are. But in the 6th house you have the Moon. The Moon in the 6th house is precise. Even though it's in Gemini, for you this is a kind of Virgoan feel. It could mean that you're going to have some conversations around your work situation. But if there are office politics in your situation, you really need to be mindful of them and choose your words very carefully, because Saturn's in a crunch T-square with both the position of the Moon and the Sun and Mars. So even if you want to say something, you may find it a little bit more difficult to articulate yourself. And with Venus coming into that square with Pluto at the end of the week, although that can be an asset, it's also important that you're not seen as playing the game in some way, that you do come across as being an honest broker, even if some people around you are a little bit more into the dark arts. So when it comes to your particular job, make sure that all the practical elements of it you complete in a very efficient and precise way this week. That doesn't give anyone any little tidbits of a fault to pick onto, which then could in some way get inflated because of that Sun-Mars energy in the 12th house, which is, to be honest, potentially about secret enemies. So if you do have, or you work in a situation where it's not very tolerant, you know, it is very authoritarian, you work maybe in a big corporate structure where you're expected to play exactly by the rules, this is perhaps not the best of weeks to push back so much, but be aware of protecting your situation. And in your internal world, just be conscious that there may be some sensitive issues that float up into your mind, and try to think them through and just go through what happened again with the experience of life that you have now. Perhaps share them with a trusted confidant and release them. But I think Mercury coming into your sign will help to bring you into the moment, certainly by the end of this week. Thank you so much for tuning in for your weekly horoscope forecast. If you order your year 2024 personal forecast based on your unique birth data now, you'll get 30% off in my special package where you get your character analysis as well. But I'll also give you your free zodiac forecast for all 12 signs, for Western tropical, for Indian horoscopes, and also for the Chinese, all in special booklets delivered with your charts. Please see the link below for more.